there are an infinite number of hairstyles, different types of hair. Let's try to find the principles of hair. So the symbol for hair might look something like this. We might see someone draw a series of strands, right? As we've said over and over again, something's going right. We just need to adjust this a little bit. There are 5, 6 lines here of hair, right? That's not hair. Hair is hundreds and thousands of hairs on someone's head. So what we need to think about is that when we're dealing with a huge quantity of something, we have to imply the texture. So we cannot draw every single strand. We shouldn't want to, and it's absolutely incorrect to the texture of hair. We don't want to do that. We want to imply the texture of hair. And the idea behind implying it is actually creating a volume, so I mean like thinking of it more as a shape, and then its true texture actually happening towards the end or the edges. And although we will see stray hairs within that volume, within that larger idea, we have to remember that we can't turn it into a numbers game. We can't turn hair into a quantity. We don't want someone to look at our drawing and see 100 marks. We want them to believe that there are thousands of hairs. So that's why this word is so important. We imply hair. So the two things that we're trying to figure out when it comes to hair is we're trying to figure out texture, and then we are also thinking a lot about direction. So even with a head like this, we wouldn't want to draw lines that just go straight up and down. We wouldn't want to draw hundreds of lines on there or marks. What we want to do is we want to show a quick hairline. Here's the outside of the figure's hair. So we want to show texture in the ends, and we want to think about direction. A very nice direction or word to think about is radial direction. So radial, meaning like to radiate, would imply that hair kind of has one source. So if you ever look at particularly shorter haircuts, you might notice that when you look at the back of someone's head with a shorter haircut, they sort of have like this origin, almost like a spot where the hair is growing out and kind of radiating out in a radial pattern from that spot. Even in this short haircut, this is a respect towards direction. So we're not just laying down straight up and down marks, but we're thinking a little bit about direction. And then we're also respecting that while we might see some texture on the inside, we actually treat the inside like a large volume, a large shape. Show me the hair. Don't tell me the hair here on the left. Show it to me. Imply it to me. Practice makes perfect, right? Meaning even when we draw one feature, we're having a discussion of one feature, challenge yourself to draw everything else. Draw those simple heads, especially when we're talking about hair, because what we want to show is that our head, like our skull and our head itself, has quite a bit of width, meaning from one end to the other. You could even tuck an ear behind the ear. Like that's a good rule of thumb for how much space you could potentially put back there. So you really want to draw the entire head because you'll notice that there's quite a bit of space, that hair goes back very far because your skull's going back. And so of course that hair's going to go even farther back. And we'll highlight that with a little bit of red. You have to engineer the hair. You have to draw that ball and jaw first, that structure, and then put it on there so that you get that more accurate idea of how far back the hair can go. Always draw that ball and jaw. It's the equivalent of doing scales when you're learning music, you're doing drills when you learn a sport. Your drill, your scales would be to draw that ball and jaw, draw that structure of the head first, then draw the hair. Over time, as you get more comfortable drawing these things alone, like without structure, you won't need it anymore. But you'll be amazed at how much better the spacing looks when you're thinking about the structure underneath. So to review,